Welcome to Southeast Super League TV, proudly brought to you by Horn Industrial Coatings. I'm back again, Tristan Blacker as your host, joined today by the ever-reliable, ever-faithful President of Basketball Operations, Dale Taylor.
Thank you, Tristan.
And to my right, the Ducks GM, Matt Bassillios.
How you going? Thanks for having me, boys.
Thanks for having us in. Thanks for coming, I should say, Matty. Just before we get into round 5, your Ducks are absolutely smashing it.
Yeah, they are. Really proud of the boys and got a great team, so keep an eye out for this space. I think we're going to go undefeated the whole way.
Oh, big calls. Big calls. Well, you're the only ones
played the Reapers yet.
The Reapers lost last night, didn't they, Dale?
Now tell me, mate. You're pretty coy at the draft night. You're quietly confident, but you kept your cards pretty close to your chest. Were you happy with how you drafted? Like, did you think that this would be where you'd be at after round 5, or?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I think the draft didn't really go the way that I'd planned.
Yep.
So in my head, I kind of had my team already picked out, and I think leading up to the draft, there was a few things that had changed. During the draft day, I still had a couple of key players that I really wanted, and I think I had to think on my feet and go, right, well, who am I going to be able to build a team around, and who's going to be able to support some of these guys? So, you look at Killer Kurt, for example. He's my 7th round pick, and he's an absolute superstar.
Yeah, he's a champion, isn't he? I think it was the same with Liam at the Matadors. He had the gem in Hayden Melson. So I guess you never know, do you, what you're going to get? But no, the Ducks are flying. No pun intended. But to recap round 5, we're going to start with the first game, which was the Wizards taking on the Tornadoes. Dale, how'd you see this one?
Yeah, well, I mean, to start with, we sort of thought it'd be a close game. The Wizards haven't had the best of starts to the season.
No.
Tornadoes obviously haven't either, but what we saw was, total domination from the Wizards. They from the get-go, they were out to go get it. Yeah,
and it's funny because I actually, we've kind of touched on the Tornadoes throughout the first 4 rounds on probably lacking chemistry and a few issues on court, but for the most part, I don't think they played a very horrible game at all.
Yeah.
They missed some probably easy shots and some gettable shots, but I think they were okay. But the Wizards were just absolutely sensational.
Yeah.
They were amazing.
I think the Wizards, we had a scrimmage against them before the actual season started, and you could just see then and there like that Aaron Wilson, Mitch Ryle, Kobe Ross combo. Dylan Minotti was still overseas, but those 3 boys can all play. They can all run the floor. Throw Dylan Minotti into that mix.
Yeah.
And I think the Wizards are starting to probably gel a bit as a team now, and you can really see them coming into their own.
Yeah, well, I completely agree. And just before we break down a couple of the stats, I want to mention 2 guys in particular, Mitchie Ryle and Aaron Wilson that you mentioned. Together, they had 38 and 29.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? They bullied their way inside really effectively on Tuesday.
Just total domination. Their shooting, the Wizards' shooting efficiency was absolutely sensational. I think they may have missed like 5 or 6 shots in the first half, like that, and that's no exaggeration. They were just on top of it from the get-go.
But you have a look at like their 3-point stat line. It was really varied. They had guys like Kobe hitting threes.
Yep.
So I think once they can kind of get a bit more shooting form in that organisation, then they're going to be a real force to reckon with.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like you said, shooting those threes. Our boy Ian Mortimer knocked a very big 3 in the opener. So shout out.
Hit one, Miller hit one,
and that goes a long way for you guys, or for them to win the game. To the Tornadoes, where do they go from here?
Yeah, well, I think they probably look to maybe make a couple of trades and mix things up and just try and get their season back on track and get a few wins towards the end. But I'm not really sure. What's going on, but they just struggle to score, I think.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. They just need someone to put up points.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, shout out to Corey Brumbury. He didn't have a very bad game at all. He had 7 and 8 with 1 assist. He constantly worked for a full 40 minutes. And same with Scotty Elliott as well. Lower down on the scoring on the night with only 4 points, but he had 6 rebounds. And those guys, what you're going to get from them, and Joel Donnelly as well. So, like you said, a few trades maybe, and build a little bit of chemistry, and hope to see him win a couple of games throughout the season.
Yeah, and shout out to James Butler, who's one tooth lighter after the game.
Yeah, he snapped his tooth in two, which one of us may have been seen running, looking for our insurance papers, but he was okay. He was okay, and we spoke to him today, and he's had that repaired, and he looks just as beautiful as ever.
For a while there, he was looking like he barracked for Collingwood.
Yeah, he did. Now, moving on to the second game. For me, was the match of the round.
Yeah.
It was the Koalas taking on the Penguins, and the Koalas got up in a really close one, 3 points.
Yeah, I thought the Koalas were due for a win, and I was sort of quietly confident that they'd get over the line in this one, and they did. I mean, full credit to them. They made the trade to bring Beggy across.
Yeah,
and
well, it worked wonders, didn't it?
Yeah, he's given him the shot in the arm with 15 points, and helped him get the win.
Yeah, I think the Koalas can really push into finals, come late November.
I think everything's got to go right for them. I mean, they've only notched their first win in round 5.
Yep.
They've got to win the next 5, I think, too.
I personally think they're capable because, not to discredit the Penguins, they were really, really good. I couldn't, aside from, again, similar to the Tornadoes missing a few easy shots, but they were really good. Patch had 11 and 9. Matty Innes lit it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
He absolutely lit it up. He was 5 of 9 from the 3-point line. They played really well, but the Koalas were just amazing. They were really good.
I think it was good to see them having a full squad as well. So obviously you got Kiwi Cam, Chris Roby. I think the two of them, work really well inside together.
Yeah, they're two smart, big bodies. Get the job done.
And then, like you said, Beggy, coming over for the first game and hitting 15 points. He had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals as well. So
he just brings a bit of that intensity and just helps everyone lift. He's probably one of the hardest working guys in the league. He's non-stop. He's on the floor, and now that he's kind of become a bit more confident and starting to hit some buckets, then they'll definitely be. If they can keep what they're doing, then they'll definitely be up there, I think. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. I will say that I think they sneak in the 4th, but time will tell.
It's a big call.
It is.
I mean, you've got teams that are already on sort of a few wins, like the Penguins, the Toucans.
You're right, and it is somewhat of a big call, but I think if you look at what we've been kind of preaching over the last month in the fact that our competition is so close, and although the Ducks, the Reapers, the Matadors were the 3 standouts effectively over the first month, you guys went down on Tuesday night. The Matadors went down to teams that you would have thought would win. Would lose, sorry. So it's already starting to happen. That way that we structure the competition and to make it tight and make the trades fair and all those types of things are already starting to come into effect.
Yeah.
So I think you'll find that you're going to get frustrated week by week because you just don't know if you're going in for a win or you're going in for a loss.
It's true. And it's
so they will finish 4th. Now moving on to our third game. We had a team by the name of the Ducks taking on the Bulldogs, Nanagoon Bulldogs.
We, the scoreline probably doesn't reflect it, but we were actually in a bit of trouble this week.
Yeah, definitely.
So we had a couple of boys that were out, and I think a couple of one of the guys who pulled out late, and we managed to actually scrape through and actually get a team together. So I think for a while there we were probably thinking that, hey, this might be our first loss, but credit to all the boys that turned up and that were there. They all played their hearts out and we came away with the win.
I don't want to continue to go from game to game saying a lot of easy shots were missed, but the Bulldogs shot themselves out of it because they were getting stop after stop after stop, and I think they got within 3 points of you guys.
Yep.
And they had probably 4 or 5 easy looks that should have put them up. And you guys, you just run transition down behind us and score some buckets, and that was the difference.
Well,
that's
if you look at the stat sheet, they actually had more points attempted than we did.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I think they'd be kicking themselves after that. I mean, in previous weeks, they've had the storm home and just ran out of time. But last night they had sort of 5 minutes and they had all the momentum. They were within 3 points.
Yeah.
And then I think the Ducks called the timeout and really stabled the ship and they were able to pull out the win from there. But I think they'd be kicking themselves there.
Oh yeah, they would. But credit where credit's due. The Ducks were fantastic. Joey Nativo.
Yeah.
It's not a half decent pickup.
Mate, he's I think I've said from the beginning that Joey's my guy.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's funny because we've been really successful and Joey actually hasn't, in my eyes, he hasn't performed to what he's capable of.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption.
Hasn't dropped for him yet. You know, yes, he's great. He's running the ball. He's lifting the team. He's getting all the other guys involved. But once he starts hitting that 3 ball, yeah.
Well, I mean, you wrote that down. Triple-double watch.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, absolutely.
11, and 6.
11 rebounds for any guard in the league is a really solid effort, and it's not easy to do.
Yeah.
So full credit to him for doing that and distributing the ball. 6 assists and 11 points of his own.
Yeah.
And your centre finally come to the party.
Yeah, absolutely. Big Dave Morrison.
Outside of just taking photos.
We've kind of said to him that, hey, we need a big game from you, and I think especially last night, missing Trav, who is an amazing defender.
Yeah.
We really needed, and they've got big boys, they've got Carl, they've got Plaza, they were out rebounding me, so really just said to Dave, mate, I need you to step up because, you're that big presence that we need. We need you to really kind of dominate that paint, and he did, so well done, Dave.
Yeah, he really did on Tuesday. I mean, I think he got 3 blocks as well, so
Yeah.
he was sort of the enforcer in the paint that you guys needed.
Yeah.
I think you let everyone know about each individual block too.
That's not like him, is it?
But moving over to the Bulldogs, they're still winless. What have they got to win? No, they're winless.
No, they're winless. But I mean, I think we've said this all season. They've lost in close games just about every single game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're one of those teams that's dangerous on any given night. But if you look at it on paper, you think, oh, this will be an easy win. It's not.
No.
Yeah.
I reckon Alex Katuziak is about to explode.
I was just
for a
thinking
game.
that for
He's
a guy
going to come
who
out.
was the leading scorer in last season, I don't think that he's the number 1 draft pick. I don't think that he's kind of stepped up as
No, and more than capable. I think at one point or another in the next couple of weeks, he's going to explode and go for 20 plus.
It's just a matter of time. I think, and with the addition of Scooby into that team, Sean Dixon, I think he's going to be able to get out in transition and get those long passes that he needs, those home run passes that he's so good at.
Yeah. Let's see how they go in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to our 4th game, we had another really close one. This was a really good game. It was the Toucans getting over the line by 3 points to the word undefeated Maryknoll Matadors.
What a cracker. Yeah, that was amazing. Like, it came right down to the very last second.
It did. Stapley had the shot to draw it.
Yeah.
He didn't do it. Poor Stapley.
Well, it's just basketball some nights, isn't it?
It is.
But, I mean, cracking game to watch, and Reece Ainsworth, 5 from 5.
Yeah.
Went line. Yeah.
Well, I think he hit the first one, and you said he is on tonight.
Yeah,
I think you called it early, so
Yeah, he just looked good. So, and I've said this about Reece for a long time, but I think he's the most reliable shooter in the league.
Yep.
I don't think there's anyone that is more reliable than him at shooting the 3 ball. It's just that he doesn't shoot it enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
So good on him for, I think dropped 16 points and really led the team in getting that win.
And I think the other thing to remember is that they're missing a couple of key guys. So Michael Stewart, their big, wasn't there.
Yeah.
Dave Huang wasn't there, who really gives them
That's
the kind
right.
of big
Yeah, he
presence.
wasn't there either.
For them to get up over the Matadors, they've done really well.
Yeah, it was pretty huge.
I think it was just a really quiet games by 3 players in particular. Their GM Liam Blacker was pretty quiet by his standards. Rob Middleton and Hayden Melson as well. Although they were there and they were contributing, they didn't do much damage on the scoreboard that they normally do. So it kind of proves. And you said it as well. I think you were coming out with a few of them at the start of that game that they just looked to match up on the Matadors really well. The two games.
Yeah, they seem to with the crew that they had there. They sort of just look to run with the Matadors really well. Like, the Matadors are an outside shooting team. They like to drive and really work off the perimeter. And, on Tuesday, the Toucans really had them covered, I felt, on the perimeter.
Well, and they got the 3-point win.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Now, unfortunately, I was not at the Wednesday morning game for the Crocs and the Reapers, so it's going to have to be passed over to you. But from all reports, our first OT game for the season.
It was a crock. No, we lost the game in overtime by a point. it was a really great finish to the game. Like, I mean, certainly in regulation it was neck and neck, and then I think in overtime they pulled away just a little bit, and then a couple of really key steals from my brother H. He's grabbed the steal and run all the way down and put it in twice, I think. It was a really big performance by him to get us back into the game. And
for sure. And it's something that we're not used to, having a Taylor play Super League and play defence. So having him there, it's really exciting. You know what I mean?
It is. I'll do one end and he can do the other. No, it was good to see. And I think towards the end we scores were tied and we fouled with a few seconds to go. They hit one and then they intentionally chucked the ball at the ring to just get rid of the time. Yeah. And that was the game. So.
Yeah, right. That would have been that's a Dan Stowe tactic right there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, Dan was doing Dan things last night. He's never made a dumb decision on the basketball court, I don't think yet. So
unlike his brother Jamie.
Last night was no different. He was a real anchor in the paint and really led from the front, I felt.
And this is, you refer back to, this is a game that you look at on paper and go, well, based off the last month, the Reapers win this one comfortably. You know?
Maybe. I mean, I've said the Crocs have lost a couple of really close games, and they're only just a smidge away from winning those games, and so we sort of came into the game, with full respect for what they've got, and we just shot the ball at such a low percentage. I think we shot for about 26% or something for the game, and so did they. But it was just a really scrappy hit out.
It's like you look at the stats here, and like I said, I was obviously not there, Matty, but from the Crocs, it was just a complete team effort.
Absolutely.
You look at Curtis Wheeler, he had 7 and 5. Serge looked like he's had a flipping day out because
Serge killed us.
Not just the points, like you look at all the stats, rebounds, Serge getting 11.
He picked the defence apart, and he was a big part of what they did to win the game.
Yeah, Mitchie Thomas, 8 and 11. So, that's good on them, and I think, like you mentioned a week or two ago, that the Crocs they're in the mix.
Yeah, and Riley Lanting, great job on defence. I think he hit 3 threes or something like that as well, 6 rebounds, and did a really good job on one of the best offensive players in the league.
Yeah,
just kidding.
Well, just going on that. Can I just read out his stats? So 1 from 6 from the 3-point line, and 4 out from 18.
Yeah, I reckon maybe Hayden. That was some of Hayden's shots. They just credited them to me, maybe.
Right.
But,
I think.
Is that what it was?
There's no way I'll go 4 for 18.
Is that right?
Goes to show though, when Dale's not on, the Reapers go down.
Yeah, there you go. Are they a one-man band?
No. We've got other people in our team. I mean, for instance, you look at Josh Saunders, 13 and 8. Yeah, had a really good game for us. And probably was the only one shooting at a high clip.
Yeah, he's loving Super League, isn't he? Just loiters around all the time and stuff. So
I hear he comes down on the Wednesday nights to watch the women and just shoot threes.
Just trolls around. Yeah.
He's a good kid. And
you weren't saying that the other day about him. You didn't really like him. But...
No, well, it's on the episode now, so on the record. Lachlan Bethune, 9 points, 11 rebounds. He's
been really solid
because he's the 8th round pick or something.
He was. I had like the last pick in the 7th and the 1st and the 8th, so it was sort of like a 7th, 8th.
Yeah. He's been really solid.
Inside, like he can finish.
He's probably, I think, one of the best big guys in the league.
Yeah,
defensively.
And he's not that big.
No, but he's got mad hops.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy with that, and like the guys that hustle on defense, like Marty and Hayden and Sam, we've got like some really good pieces there defensively. I think we're probably one of the best defensive teams in the league.
Yeah, that's fair. Game's done. So before we go to our sponsors, I do have 5 questions here. Something we're going to trial when we have our guests come on. So Matty, I'm going to hit you with a couple.
Yeah, mate.
Favourite SESL player and why?
That's a hard one. I would have to say, after watching the Wizards play last night, it'd have to be Aaron Wilson.
Yeah, he's pretty special.
He's an absolute freak. Like, there were just times where he'd, take his steps from the free throw line and just finish up at the bucket. Reverse, he'd have 3 people on him and still manage to finish.
And just his speed down the floor.
That speed and that athleticism, it's crazy. He's a monster. So
this could be the same answer for question 2. If you're able to add one more player to your Ducks roster, who would it be?
Well, imagine Aaron Wilson running with Joey all night.
Yeah. Yeah, don't like the sound of that. If I was an opposition team. Question 3, who wins the NBA this year? Who are the NBA champions?
I'm going to say Lakers. You know, I don't think it's going to happen, but, you know.
Throw it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, bear in mind, Golden State went down to Phoenix the other day. I know it's only pre-season, but, you know, so, you know, if LeBron...
Well, anything with LeBron is
that's what
possible,
I was going to say. You know, if LeBron gets those boys going, mate, you'll be surprised.
Yeah, okay, all right. Mate, when did you start playing basketball?
Started playing when I was about 12.
Yeah.
Started playing just at school, and then from there, I think I've always been a kind of bigger body, so... You know, always quite tall and quite solid. So, yeah, they kind of picked me up and then, you know, started playing at school for the team and then kind of went into rep over in the Gold Coast and, yeah.
Now you're playing professionally at the South East Super League. Very good. Last question. Now, I think this one's been a bit of a setup. You and Dave Morseman.
Yeah.
Competition.
Yeah.
Who'd have the most cheeseburgers?
That is tough. Morsman, I mean, Morsman loves his Macca's and his KFC.
That's why he runs out of here every Tuesday night, isn't it?
Mate, you should see the group chat. It's like, here's what I've had for dinner. I was like, Dave, can you hang around and watch, you know, the last game? And he's like, oh, KFC's about to close. Nah, look, Morsman, but, you know, in his defence, he is the fridge. So,
yeah, fair call, cool. All right, mate, thanks for answering those. Thanks for coming in, and we'll see you again soon.
No worries. Thanks for having me, boys.
We'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Lonsdale Street Auto Electrics, proud sponsor of the Southeast Super League domestic competition. Located at 15 Park Drive in Dandenong, Marty Sanchez and the boys will be able to take care of all your auto electric needs. They have a wide range of services and systems on offer, including GPS tracking for your car, CCTV security systems, and more importantly, with summer just around the corner, they'll be able to sort out your car's air conditioning and get your car nice and cool in time for summer. So go down and see Lonsdale Street Auto Electrics, 15 Park Drive, Dandenong, proud sponsor of the Southeast Super League domestic competition.
And we're back for the women's competition. I'm joined by the Emerald Bears GM, Jill Appleton. Jill, thanks for coming in.
No worries, thanks for having me.
And Dale Taylor, President of Basketball Operations, and he will be talking in this segment. Won't you, Dale? First game, we had the Koorup Koalas taking on the Tynong Tornadoes. It was a one-sided affair with the Koalas winning 71-50. It was a one-sided affair from the get-go. I think they pegged it back in the middle for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it got a bit tight there as I looked over at the bench and Keely, Shad and Ali were all sitting there and kind of letting everyone else at it. And I think Steph and Taz started to hit a few shots and got a bit worried. I think they all subbed themselves back in and blew it back out again. So.
Yeah. I think it was a bit tough for the Tornadoes, you know, having a couple of players down, especially Beck Zalek, who's starting to pick up and play some good basketball, but you can only play with the team you got and the team that you're playing against. So a shout out to our player of the week from last week, Keely Patterson. She finished with 19 points again. Ali Coots had 12. It was an all-round team effort. We're talking about it before, quite in depth, really. Kate Zemnick, 11 points, had a cracking game.
Just absolutely killing it. Probably my favourite player going around in the league at the minute, and just her ability as the youngest player in the comp to just take it on and
go hammer and
no
tong.
regrets. And
her buckets seem to come from the paint as well. Like they're
scared me, sorry.
No, it's a really good point.
You're right. No, you're right.
Agree,
yeah, and it's not just cheap points either. You know, she's getting that ball and she's attacking the basket. So, you know, and good on her. The Tornadoes, Claire Pappas finished with 16 and 11. Played a really good second game in the league after having her baby. So it's good to have, you know, such a high caliber player in the comp. Tyler Scorer finished with 15, and Taz Pentland 10 points as well. So she's been really serviceable since coming into the team a couple of weeks ago. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think like Tynong can't be too disheartened by that result. Koorup have been absolutely flying, and the fact that Bree only hit one bucket for the game, and like they were missing Beck, so they've got a lot of room for improvement there as well. So they should walk away from that game pretty positive.
Yeah, correct. I mean, 9% shooting from Rhiannon it's probably not great, but that doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? She doesn't normally shoot the ball happens. That low. That's pretty much her age, 9. So we're hoping that she picks that up over the coming weeks. But a shout out to Rhiannon as well for making the emergency position for the Vic Country State team. That's a huge achievement. So congratulations to her. Moving on to what you're calling the game of the round, Jill. The Emerald Bears winning 57 to the Officer Hornets 47. Although you guys probably seem to have control of the game for the most part, it was relatively close.
Yeah, I think we kind of pushed it out a lot at the start, a little bit like the first game, really pushed it out at the start and then again at the start of the second half. And Officer just kept pegging back. And every time they kind of brought it to within 6 points, we just put the foot back on the pedal and stepped it back out again. And Tanea just lit it up in the first 8 minutes of the game. I think, like, I was on the court with her, but I don't think I touched the ball because I was just standing back watching and just being like, no, you got this. And I think she's now the number 1 pick in the comp, and will, after a probably rusty first game, and she'll admit that as well, she'll just keep going from strength to strength in this comp, and having her and DJ play together is a pretty scary combo for the rest of the comp.
They look pretty dangerous together actually on the court.
Yeah,
I was a little bit frustrated. I wasn't sure if you were orchestrating the subs, but T drops 15 points in the first 8 minutes, and then DJ calls for a sub, and you think this is going to be wicked, and then Tanea comes off and DJ goes on, and you're like, what's happening here? But the second half they got on the floor together and absolutely smashed it. They finished, T finished with 20 points and DJ 14. Kylie Thompson,
old mate Tompo,
smashing it, 15 points. She knocked 5 out of 9 threes, which is the Kylie of old that we used to see running around the other basketball stadium here in Pakenham. So, shout out to her. Moving on to the Hornets, that's a tough one for them. They've lost Callie Bowen, their number 1 pick, so that they're in the market for a marquee player, and hopefully we can get them one. But it's not all doom and gloom, because they've got a close-knit team there, working really hard. Jamie Armstrong finished with 13 points, Annabelle finished with 15, and they just continue to work and continue to grind. And I think once we get that marquee player in for them, they'll be a real force.
I think the same as with Tynong for Officer. I think Sam probably had her quietest game for the season so far as well.
Yeah.
And, when she's up and running, it kind of spurs everyone else on that team on. And Jay's just playing fantastic basketball at the moment and really leading from the front as the GM of the Hornets there. So,
yeah, she is.
They'll get there as well. And I think it was the battle of the bottom of the ladder tonight. So it was good to get a win and get ahead of them and get our season on track for sure.
Yep. Well, I think that effectively wraps up the women's round for this week. It was good to see a lot more people through the door.
Yeah.
It was, the crowds are getting bigger, the competition's getting bigger. I implore anyone that hasn't checked out the girls' comp to get down and have a look, because we've got some amazing players. It's probably our most stacked league, really, as far as talent-wise and high caliber players, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. So get down. But outside of that, Jill, thanks for joining us tonight. You've been fantastic.
Oh,
Dale, your talking ability has really grown, and I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Dad.
We'll be back with the elite competition after this break.
Horn Industrial Coatings, official naming sponsor of the Southeast Super League. A family-run business with over 15 years' experience, Horn Industrial Coatings specialise in a range of epoxy flooring solutions for both commercial and industrial applications. There's no job too big or too small for Horn Industrial Coatings. If you've got a project at home that needs a flooring solution, reach out to Dean for some expert help with your flooring needs. Be it a workshop at home, a basketball court out in the backyard that needs surfacing, Horn Industrial Coatings have got your floor covered. For more information about Dean's wide range of flooring solutions, visit hornindustrialcoatings.com.au. Proud naming sponsor of the Southeast Super League.
And we're back to discuss the elite competition. We're now joined again by Braden Venning.
I'm here, guys.
The GM from the Officer Hornets.
City.
Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome.
And the ever reliable Dale Taylor, President of Basketball.
Shut your mouth. Let's go.
President of Basketball Operations. So moving into our first game, Druin Dragons 51 versus the Lakeside Lightning. Lakeside Vikings 57.
That could be a thing. I like that.
The Lightning?
Yeah.
Changeover? Takeover?
I'm not a part of the Vikes, but hey.
Well, yes.
Alliteration, mate. I like it.
Now, this was a cracking game. Were you here for this one?
Yeah, I caught the end of it, yeah.
This was probably close to match of the round. Our little mate Aaron Miles had an absolute cracker, scoring 12 points, I think, inside the first 10 minutes and then disappeared. I don't know if that was because he's so little or whether he was just subbed off. But
it is hard to find him on the court with
but
size.
He was really good. Matt Burkick, although like somewhat quiet, he still seems to pull relatively big numbers. Finishing with 13 and 10. He was and 3 blocks. Although he was quiet, he was serviceable. Lacking in defense, the Dragons.
Yeah, well, is that hardly surprising? Like, who have they got? They've got one of the tallest guys in the league. Who actually, he deserves an apology. I called him a pussy last week. I called him out, said he's soft as butter. He had a poster dunk.
Did he?
He got an M1.
Yeah, okay.
Dunk. Like, he's poor. he's a little softy, but he came out and just yammed on someone. So
yeah.
I will say that man was Dylan Larkin.
Yeah, okay. And let's lead that over to the Vikings/Lightning and talk about Dylan Larkin for a minute, because he's someone that you played with last season.
Yeah, he was on my team in the Vikings when I was the GM.
/Lightning. But I was talking to his dad during this game and just saying what 12 months of basketball has done to this kid. He's absolutely outstanding. He's MVP watch.
Yeah.
For me, he's far and away the leader for most valuable player at the minute, in my opinion.
He's easily the most consistent player, putting up the biggest numbers.
Yeah,
he's always up around that 20-point mark, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's pulling down a heap of boards.
Yeah.
We'll touch on his stats. He had 18 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Just getting it done. And he was effectively the difference. So, good on him. And a shout out to Matty Thielen as well. He had 12 and 11. Just an absolute workhorse.
Double.
Yeah, younger guy, just getting it done. And considering they only had 5 players, these guys made a real statement in getting the win.
And Larkin was fouled off.
Towards the end.
Yeah. They finished with 4 and still got the dub.
Yeah.
Does that speak on how good the Blacks are or how poor Druin is?
I think a bit of both.
I think any team with Mike Godfrey and it's going to be pretty good. Like he's a really solid defender and a good leader on that team, I think.
Yeah, he is.
He knows the game well.
Moving on to the second game, it was very much a one-sided affair with the Pakenham Pirates winning 65 versus the Berwick Sharks 44.
Still without a win.
And getting convincingly beaten.
2-time champs.
Yeah. But you look at the stats and, coming up against the Pirates, although Jordan Page didn't play and we found out that he's injured again, so he'll take no part in Super League moving forward. So the Pirates are going to be looking for a marquee player, but James Topp is probably someone we should shout out. Mr. Consistent. He smashed it to pieces last year in Super League, and he's doing it again now. He finished with 14 and 13, and just gets it done for the Pirates.
Yeah, every week he's always getting a double. It's good.
Yeah, you can bank on it.
Yeah,
nothing safer.
Yeah, Ben Brain.
Ooh, that boy can shoot it.
He had an absolutely cracking game. 25 points, 5 rebounds. 7 trays. He was 7 from 12 from the 3-point line. Yeah. And when I say, he was 7 from 12 from quarter court. It was knocking him from that far.
He was feeling himself.
Was he?
Yeah, he was up and about. Mate. You should have seen him running back down that court. He was a happy boy.
Yeah, he did really well. And
no conscience.
No conscience at all. Lee Belton was probably the only shining light for the Sharks. He finished with 29 points and 5 boards.
Yeah.
Although, Trent Lee was, can we call him that? Tree?
Yeah.
The tree.
The Tree, Uncle Trio. Yeah. 5 and 11 assists. So, he's working hard, but they'd probably need to look and go into the trade table, I think. Getting some more players around those two.
They need some scorers. Dude, Lee had 29. The Sharks scored 44.
Yeah, it's rough.
There was 15 other points scored in that entire game for that team.
Yeah.
And that's not the only time he's done that. I think he's hit 29 points a couple of times.
He torched us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really went at us. And he's been playing some unbelievable ball at the moment. He's hitting like inside-out step backs, like getting to the rim with ease.
Yeah.
He's feeling himself, but he just needs some help.
Well, there's an option there. He can look at the trade table, but unfortunately, Theo Maddle, one of their players, has had to pull out injured as well. So he's got a replacement option there. So, maybe he can look for a solid, 4 or 5 man, change it up a little bit and bring someone in and hopefully get him a win on the board because, the Sharks are the 2-time reigning premiers for Elite. So
yeah. They could be finding themselves out of the finals race already.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a shame with Theo though, because in domestic he was the league's leading scorer,
and he was putting up games of 30 plus, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he could have been that scorer for the Sharks, but unfortunately for him, finds himself injured and
it is what it is. Now moving on to the third game, which was somewhat interesting. It was the score doesn't really paint much of a picture. It was the Gembrook Pacers 72 versus the Officer Hornets 57. You guys went down by 15, but it really was a lot closer than that, wasn't it?
It was a hell of a lot closer than that. They just hit some shots late, and credit Noodle Wiedemann. He is one of the roughest looking dudes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Rudest pill got going around.
Yeah.
Terrible bloke. Like,
no
can't
good.
say a good word about him, but he's put together a pretty handy team.
He has. He's put together a really handy team. He's finished with 16 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and he's leading the league in efficiency.
Yeah, he's still a shit bloke though.
What do you think of his girlfriend?
Abigail. Only good thing about Ned. Only good thing about Noodle is his misso.
Yeah, and his basketball team. And to get back on topic and talk about them for a minute, Cody Fredrickson was amazing. 16 points, 7 boards, 6 assists. Yeah. Nathan Malloy, Bailey Beck, all these guys just got it done. And I think, on paper and looking at the stats, that this is the team to beat for Elite this year.
It certainly looks like it. And what were they without Simo or?
Yeah, well, I don't know. So if you talk to some people, he's retired because he got Player of the Week. So he's gone out on top.
Okay.
Or he could have been at work.
All right.
It was one of the two. We haven't kind of worked that out yet.
I think he's called the early retirement.
Yeah.
Called the pin. Finished on top. Why wouldn't you?
Because, if you look at the Player of the Week, he was waving. So I don't know if he was walking out or what he was doing. But, no Simo.
That speaks volumes. Like you have a player that puts up 28 points, he's missing the next week, and, several other guys step up in his place. So.
But Bailey Beck's been huge, and he was the last pick in the draft.
Yeah, he was. And he's finished with 7 points, 9 rebounds and 3 assists.
Yeah, and
Smashed it.
Hot news. This is straight from Noodle Wiedemann himself. Prettiest size in the league, Bailey Beck.
Yeah, that's fair.
He said he's mesmerising.
Noodle told you that.
Noodle told me that. Like, direct quote. Most beautiful eyes in the league.
Wow.
No. Do with that what you will. I don't know. Just a little bit of shin.
Well, what I will do with it is I will leave it alone and I'll move on to the fourth game.
Hey, not even going to mention my Hornets? Come on,
We'll
mate.
put that in Super League trivia.
We'll quickly.
Come on, let's talk about my Hornets. Buzz City, get up and around us.
Well, what's the story? You tell us. For me, it's a lack of defense again.
Well, you'd be entirely correct. Our goal is to score more points than the other team, and we just did not.
Yeah. Although Lewis Newman played well, 20 points, 11 boards.
Yeah. It was an inefficient 20 and 11.
Yeah, it was.
I'll call him on that.
Yeah.
But, how many threes can you airball from the corner? I don't know. He's going for records. What can you do? I'll support him as my GM.
No, I've made a note here with Louis. Everyone loves him.
Yeah.
Everybody loves him. He's a fantastic player. 20 and 11. Can he do more?
Bloody oath he could. He could play some D.
Could he take it a little bit more serious?
Yeah.
Because he could tear this league apart.
He could. Like, he has the skill set to absolutely destroy it. But he doesn't like to play two-way ball.
Yeah. I think that's kind of falls on the GM.
He's a bit kind of scared of the key as well. He's what, 6'8"? Scared of the key. Dunk the ball.
Kind of looks like a cat walking on a hot tin roof.
Man, he's like this. Basketball. Good looking fella though.
Yeah, he's lovely.
Went to a movie with him before the game. You know, that was always good. another little bit of shinfo for you, but
very good. What do you guys need to do outside of the defensive efforts? Is that it? Is that the main issue?
Oh, we probably need to move the ball a bit more.
Yeah,
we got I think, Lewis had like 21 shots, Nola had 15, and everyone else were like 5 shots.
Yeah.
So if we can get some other guys stepping up,
I think,
really filling it up.
And before we move on to that last game, as far as your defence is concerned, I don't think we put Noah Christensen in that category. He's lockdown. No. He's straight up lockdown defence. He was amazing to watch on that Sunday. Now, moving in-to the last game for Elite for the round was the Narre-Warren Silverbacks 57 defeating the Beaconsfield Mustangs 51. This was another really good game. Unfortunately for the Mustangs, they were short of players. They were down to 5 or 6 or whatever it was.
They had 6. I think Vlad injured himself.
He hurt his ankle towards the end. And it kind of showed because Vlad's been a really good player this season. He finished with 8 points and 14 rebounds, 3 assists. He's averaging a really big double-double. And he's leading the league in rebounds. So, having someone like that go down, it makes things difficult. But I think it was just poor shooting by the Mustangs. They had more shots, but just didn't finish. And you look at Vlad only having 8. Tommy Welsh had 14, but had a lot more shots.
Yeah, okay. That's quiet for him because usually he's up around 25 and not missing any shots. So
Kiat was really good. He finished with 12 points and 6 rebounds. Yeah. But it was the Silverbacks team effort, across the board. Paul Phillips, Jeff Reed didn't have their, huge games. Like Jeff only had 6 points. I mean, he had 13 rebounds and 7 assists, but
triple-double, right?
Yeah, he was sharing the ball around. Logan Mills was really strong. He had 14 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Had a really solid game, and he's really flying under the radar for them as well.
That got him a Player of the Week nomination, I think, too.
Yeah, it did. No Ben Collins. He had a hamstring injury, so he's missing.
Nick Langbein?
He is in jail.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know, but we'll just run with that and see.
He's a handy player to add to that mix.
Yeah, correct.
You know who else had a good game? Jackson Gray.
Yeah, Jacko's killing it.
I think he had 14 points, maybe?
He was absolutely knackered at one point. I think he had about 15 minutes on the bench because he just runs hard and works like a workhorse.
Real solid mid-range shot. Like, young fella. Like, he'll just coming into under 20s for VJBL now. Yeah,
and he's a big boy and he works hard and I think he's doing an apprenticeship under Paul Phillips. Like, it's if you're a young big, he's someone that you want to be working with.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it. That's all I have.
Boom, done.
Braden, it's been a pleasure yet again. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome, mate.
Dale, thank you.
Thank you, Tristan.
All the best, guys. See you next week.
Pew, finger guns. I'm a finger bang bang you. Finger bang bang.